Hey guys, Buildzoid here, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a weird video because we're only going to be looking at like Corsair's memory speed bins and the inadequacies of Corsair's website. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. The motivation behind, like the decision to make this video occurred when I stumbled across this lovely scenario. These are not the same memory kit, but they sure look like it, right? Because DDR5 6200 CL36 versus DDR5 6200 CL36. They're both 2x16, 2x16. We go to Corsair's website to hopefully get some more information about like what it is that we're trying to buy here. We go to the tech specs and we get some, we find out, okay, it has an XMP profile. We have the like the stock time, like the non-XMP timings, the stocks, like the non-XMP speed, the default volt, like the non-XMP voltage. Then we get our XMP speed, XMP voltage, what kind of DDR, like what kind of DDR it is, how much the memory sticks away, what kind of power management IC it has. For some reason, listed under power draw, which I'm pretty sure power draw is measured in watts, not in PMIX, but sure. Where are the XMP timings? Like, where are they? And if we go to this other kit, this looks basically the same, except there's one difference. There's the difference that the voltage is higher. But like, where are the timings? Seriously, where are they? This is completely unacceptable. Like, just like list the freaking timings. Like, I freaking can't. Like, I think I already complained once before. Yeah, no, it was definitely Corsair. And Patriot was also, like, I also complained about Patriot doing this because they stopped listing their TRCD time, like the full set of timings. They only listed the cast latency. So now Corsair has stepped it up. I haven't checked if Patriot's gone back to doing this as well. But yeah, Corsair's apparently stepped it up. Instead of only mentioning the cast latency, we're just not going to mention anything in the tech specs for the XMP timings. Like, obviously, we still have the cast latency up here, but like, are you kidding me? Like, evidently they acknowledge that other timings other than the cast latency exist. So what are they? Is this a CL36 40 40 77 kit? Because I know for a fact that it isn't. But anyway, so like this is just completely unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Like, look, if you're gonna have tech specs on, like, if you're gonna put product specifications on your website, maybe include the damn specifications. Specify what timings it comes with. Especially since I'm relatively certain that with Corsair memory kits, you do actually get the full timing set on the packaging. Or at least they did the last time I checked. And the timings also are on the memory sticks, right? So it's like once you buy this, you'll see the full timings, but God forbid you have the ability to figure out what the timings are before you purchase the product, admittedly from the manufacturer's own product page, because technically you could just go to like PC Part Picker, and PC Part Picker very conveniently figured out what the timings are for us. But like, like if I go to Amazon and I try to find out what timings this memory kit comes with, where do I do that? Like, this is even less helpful than Corsair's own website. Which, I mean, I'm not surprised. Amazon's website sucks. That's why I don't shop there, but... like, the whole point of having a specs page on the manufacturer's website is so that when the seller can't be bothered to list the specs properly, you can go and check the specs on the manufacturer's website. But that doesn't work if the manufacturer can't be bothered to give you the damn specs, now does it? So, yeah, I am quite upset by this because I'm pretty sure I already complained about basically this same problem not that long ago. And it's back. So anyway, The other issue between these two memory kits, and this is more of a the other issue between these two memory kits is that at a glance they look very similar. And the main difference that you'll see on Corsair's website is like one of them is 1.3 volts, the other one is 1.4 volts. But honestly, that voltage difference doesn't automatically tell you very much, right? If you're trying to buy a memory kit for the sake of overclocking. So the voltage difference, and the reason I say that is because with a lot of DDR5 memory kits, the voltages that they come with are kind of, they're not really minimized, right? Like some kits will come with significantly more voltage than is necessary for them to function, and that they just kind of do that. And other kits come with somewhat less extra voltage than what is absolutely necessary for them to work. Because generally speaking, the manufacturer won't ship you a memory kit where it has zero, they're not going to ship a memory kit that's so on edge that if the voltage comes down by 10 millivolts, it's going to crash, because that would be incredibly unreliable. But, this could just be like, oh, this kit just has less safety margin on it than this one. Like, it doesn't, this to me doesn't immediately jump out as like a significant hardware difference between these two kits. Like, I'm not, I might be like, oh, maybe the binning of the memory chips on this one is slightly looser or something. But that's not the difference between these two kits. No, the difference between these two kits is that this is a Micron speed bin. That's why the timings are so bad. And this is a Hynix bin. That's the main difference. That's also why one of them is significantly more expensive than the other. This is good. For overclocking, this is going to be pretty good. And I say pretty good because I am not sure if, there's a decent chance that you would end up with 16 gigabit Hynix A die in this speed bin. But there's also a decent, there's also still a chance that you're going to end up with 16 gigabit Hynix M die. Now, between M die and A die, the differences are basically we're just going to go with Intel because their things are simpler. So if you're on Intel, the difference between M die and A die is that with M die, you're probably going to max out somewhere between 7,000 and 7,400. Well, okay, I should lower that. 6,800 and 7,200, depending on how good your motherboard and CPU are. And with A die, you're going to max out somewhere between 6,800 and 8,000 potentially, depending on how good your CPU and motherboard are. So, in both cases, you basically have a memory kit that has and the thing is, the maxing out at 6,800, that's not even going to be the memory kit's fault. That's going to be the CPU's fault, because I am talking about Intel here. So if we were just considering the memory kits, M die can regularly go 7,200 plus, A die can regularly do 8,000 plus, or at the very least 7,600 plus, right? So because of that, it's so this memory kit basically has 1,000 megatransfers worth of headroom on it, right? At the very least. Whereas this is a Micron speed bin. Micron memory chips struggle to reach DDR5 7000. So, if you're trying to get into memory overclocking and you don't already know entirely too much about RAM, I mean, you probably wouldn't be buying this specific kit, but I don't know, maybe you might see this 6200 CL36 kit at a really low price. It might be on sale or something, and you might be comparing it against this memory kit. And it's and this memory kit, I've done video, I have memory sticks from Corsair in this speed bin, and I quite like them. I use them quite a lot. Because it's Hynix M die. Mine are really old, so they're Hynix M die, but they're good. I generally use them with AMD, so I'm not too concerned about the high speeds that they can reach. But the other thing is that I didn't mention is so Micron not only can't reach high speeds, they also don't do tight timings, which is why the primary timings on this kit suck so much. But even the secondary timings and the tertiary timings on Micron memory sticks don't get as low as Hynix memory sticks do. So basically, there is no scenario if you're going to if you buy these two kits, if you bought one of these two kits and you were going to overclock it, there is no scenario in which this kit has an advantage from a performance perspective. It just doesn't exist. So it is quite like frustrating for me to see that like it's really hard to tell that these are very different kits, right? And I don't think you would need to be like super, like, I don't feel like you would need to have super in-depth memory overclocking knowledge to sort of, realize that 364646 is very different from 363939, right? So that combination of like, oh, like, sure, the cast latency is similar, but the timings are very different. Like the TRCD is very different and the voltage is higher is like, okay, this actually is probably significantly worse, which right now is like, and it is worse. Like it's Micron. It's not going to do as tight timings. It's not going to clock as high. There's basically no scenario in which you'd actually want to end up with this memory kit unless it's incredibly cheap. So if you're looking at this kit and the price is kind of similar, or you're willing to spend the extra to get the better memory, right? Like, this is a problem. Like, it's way too hard to actually get the information about these two kits on Corsair's website, and also the fact that, like, they are really, like, the other point of this video is to basically warn people about the fact that, like, yeah, you can now get, like, Micron-based memory kits that are, like, that, like, at a glance, they can look like a Hynix kit, but they're very much not. And they are way worse. So, anyway, yeah, so that's the first example. And then the other thing that I wanted to cover is, like, the different Corsair speed bins. So, for example, this right here, this is also Micron. DDR5 7000 CL40. To somebody not completely informed, this might look like, oh, this has to be Hynix 16 gigabit A die. It's not. This is a Micron bin. And the cast latency in and of itself isn't that suspicious because there are actually like Hynix bins of like 7200 CL38, so like 7000 CL40. It's like it's not that much looser, but the TRCD is 52, which is like this is the kind of TRCD that you would be running like a Hynix kit would potentially require that TRCD at like over DDR5 8000. Like, this is insanely high TRCD for just DDR5 7000 speeds. Yeah, like, no. So this is a Micron bin, and that's also why it's so, like it's weirdly cheap for a DDR5 7000 kit, right? Like, it's $140, 7000, and the reason it's weirdly cheap, it's because it's Micron. That's why the price is so low. And now, to be fair, if you're just planning to run this at XMP, it's probably okay. I'm not 100% certain about that because these timings are so loose that this might actually be slower than like a Hynix 6400 rated kit. But I'm not 100% certain of that off the top of my head. Like, if you're just turning on the XMP profile, this might not be that bad. But from an overclocking perspective, this is basically a disaster. And then we also have like 6600 CL38. And now we get into the territory of like, I would probably rather have a 6000 CL30 kit instead of this, because I'm pretty sure 6000 CL30, even at like XMP, is going to be faster than whatever this is. Because, yeah, the timings are still really freaking loose. So, yeah, this is another Micron bin. And then we get progressively worse Micron bins, like the 6400 CL36 in 364848, also at 1.4 volts. And this I'm like rather confident that a 6000 CL30 kit would actually just be faster than this. Now, admittedly, this is almost the same price as a 6000 CL30 kit, so, not too much of a problem. But still, again, like, if you're not if you don't already know way too much about RAM, this might kind of look like a pretty good deal. It's like 6400, the price isn't insane, and then you buy it, and at XMP, it's not going to be too bad, but if you ever decide to try overclock it, you're gonna be so disappointed. Because this is going to not overclock, basically at all. And the timings are going to suck. And if you, like, also the other thing is, like, a lot of the memory overclocking guides out there primarily target Hynix memory chips. So if you try to follow them, they're not going to work at all. So, yeah, not great. Now, Corsair does also make good memory. They don't just make noob traps like, this, or this, or this. They do actually make good RAM. It's just not any of these. So an example of good RAM would be something like this. It's also significantly more expensive at that point, but yeah, this is like a proper Hynix bin, right? 7200 CL34 Hynix. This is Hynix A die, always Hynix, like 16 gigabit Hynix A die. It always has to be Hynix 16 gigabit A die because with timings like this, nothing else will run that. Like nothing else will run this speed. So you know, this is just good Hynix memory. Like there's nothing really I could say against this. Um, but yeah, it's just like, you know, like Corsair's website should have more information on it, and also you should probably avoid these speed bins if you actually care about memory overclocking. Um, Actually, I would probably avoid this one if you just care about about performance in general. But yeah, if you're on AMD especially, this would suck like really badly. On AMD especially, this would be really bad because 60 yeah like so. Like honestly, I sometimes like I see certain speed bins of memory for like, and even with DDR4, like there was a bunch of speed bins where it's like, why does this even exist? Like, the only way you would buy some of the speed bins that were available for like DDR4 is if you didn't know any better, as far as I'm concerned. Um, so yeah, and we kind of have the same situation with DDR5 now, where it's like, and like the clearest example I'm aware of is Corsair's like DDR5 speed bins, because like other manufacturers have some really wacky Hynix bins where they're like weirdly loose or something, but Corsair is the only manufacturer that I'm currently aware of that has these like insanely high, like, or they're not really, well, for Micron, these are insanely high speeds because Micron chips don't generally clock that high, right? So that's like the whole reason why I'm like complaining about these is like these are like these are in this like speed, these are like these are speed bins where you'd normally like expect to see Hynix memory chips with like 100% certainty, and then there's Corsair over here binning Micron into it by just like through a combination of rather high voltage and sky high timings, which like on one hand it's kind of impressive that they can even make memory kits like this, because um yeah, as far as I know, the Micron memory chips aren't that consistent. So you like this actually probably requires significantly more binning than this does. But on the flip side, this is better. Right? Like this is just a better memory kit than this by a very large margin. Um so yeah, and other than that, Corsair also has like 6600 CL32 and 6000 CL30, which, you know, this is sort of like your like this is kind of like the brain dead option for AMD systems, where it's like, oh, I want fast RAM and I don't want to think about it, 6000 CL30. And then you also have like from Corsair speed bins like 6000, 36, 36, 36, which is not Hynix. Or well, okay, it's not all. This is very likely to be Samsung and occasionally Hynix, because Hynix memory chips are so good that they can show up in the speed bins of literally any other memory chip, but other memory chips can't show up in Hynix speed bins. That's kind of how memory speed bins work, where it's like the good chips can go anywhere, the bad chips have their own special bins, right? Like 6600 CL38 or 7000 CL40 or 6200 CL36, but with a TRCD of 46, right? Like this is the important part. This is what identifies this as a Micron-based kit compared to a Hynix-based kit. Is that the TRCD difference? Because this is also 6200 CL36, but this is Hynix. So yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out. That like one, Corsair's website is again incredibly unhelpful when it comes to figuring out details of Corsair memory kits. Which why even have a website if you're not going to put specs on it? And other than that, like some information about Corsair speed bins. I mean, technically, I guess I should have also pointed out like 5600 CL36, like this right here. What is this? Yeah, this is Samsung. Or like this is a Samsung bin. It could have Hynix in it, but I wouldn't take my chances, especially for $140. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't roll the dice with $140 on the chance of getting a Samsung kit when you could just buy this for like less, and it has to be Hynix. So Anyway, of course, this video is now way longer than it really needed to, than I wanted it to be, but hopefully it's helpful. Even though it only really targets one manufacturer, which I feel weird about doing that, but like is really frustrates me. Like, look, if you're gonna have spec sheets or like if you're gonna have a tech specs tab on your website, put the damn specs in there. Like, I don't even need to like open anything on G.Skill's website to get the damn speed like timing spec, right? Like if I go to a random memory kit on G.Skill's website, like they're just there. Look, look how easy it is. You can just put the timings right there. See? Okay, I just clicked on the speed that was kind of no timing combination that wasn't ideal. Oh right, speed and time. Like the timings are just there. Like I don't need to open one of these product pages to click on the specifications if I just want to check the timings, because they're there. Like, and then there's the Corsair website, which is trying to be as unhelpful as possible when it comes to figuring out what the TRCD is. Mind you, they print the timings on the memory stick labels. Like, the full timings are printed on the memory stick labels. So, like, after you bought the memory kit, you would see them. Like that. And you know, like, I'm going to assume that they just, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they just kind of forgot that, you know, like, it would be kind of nice to put the actual timing spec on the website. So that if you're buying a memory kit, you don't, you know, like go like, oh, 6200 CL36, 6200 CL36, this one's cheaper, I'm going to buy the cheaper one, and then you get the cheaper one in the mail, you unbox it, and you look at the memory sticks, and then you read the timings, and you see 3646. And that's when the realization hits you that you've just bought trash RAM. Within the context of overclocking, if you're just planning to run it at XMP, it's going to be, it's not going to be as fast as a 3639 kit, but it's not going to be that much slower. But if you were planning on overclocking that right there, like that moment when you read that TRCD 46, if you know what, like, well, actually, you probably wouldn't realize, you know, if you're a beginner, you wouldn't realize what it is that TRCD 46 on your 6200 memory kit means. But eventually you would figure out that, oh, I just bought Micron. And that's why my RAM clocks like garbage, and why my timings won't go any lower, and, you know, why, like, if I try to follow a memory overclocking guide for Hynix memory sticks, it just kind of doesn't work. So, you know, it would be kind of nice if the timings were actually on Corsair's website, instead of as a surprise for the purchaser when they like when they install the memory sticks. I guess some people wouldn't even read the label. They would just turn on the XMP and they'd find out the timings suck when they open up CPU-Z or something. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video at this point, and like, I hope to see this fixed soon. Like, you know, I mean, I guess the holiday season wasn't the best time to complain about this, but like, just put the damn timings on the website. Like, yeah, like it doesn't, like, G.Skill does it. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't checked all the other manufacturers. I'm not going to do that right now. But like, just put the damn timings on the website. And then the other point of this video was to point out to people that, hey, like, these like Micron bins exist, okay? And they have their uses. Like, I mean, like, I'd buy one of these as like a novelty kit of RAM. Like, I have a kit of Samsung basically just so I could test out what Samsung memory chips, like how Samsung memory chips behave. Basically to confirm other people's, like, other, you know, like, confirm what other people have said about Samsung memory chips not being great. And it's like, yeah, I tested some Samsung memory chips. They ain't great. They're not completely terrible. Like, there are worse DDR5 memory chips than, like, Samsung 16 gigabit B-die, but, and there's like one memory chip that's worse. But anyway, yeah, hopefully this video is helpful, and I'll just hit the stop button at this point because it's kind of going nowhere. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave any comments, questions, suggestions down in the comment section below. And if you'd like to support what I do here with actually hardcore overclocking, I have a Patreon. There's a link to that down in the description below. There's also the AHOC Teespring store, where if you want to buy merch, there's like shirts and posters and hoodies and, merch stuff. And I've also got a Bandcamp, and there's a link to that down in the description below. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.